Welcome to Wedding Day Podcast with your hosts, Sonja Babich, CEO of Iron Diamond Media, a leading wedding resource featuring 7 localized wedding brands across the country, and Dan Riggs, photography and videography expert and founder of Summit Hill Studios. Come along as they travel from state to state to connect with the most creative and well-respected professionals in the wedding industry. Every episode will arm you with the hottest new trends, wedding day tips and details, and they'll show you all the joys of planning your perfect wedding day.
Wedding Day Podcast Episode 6 is powered by The Society, Milwaukee Flower Company, and Two Birds Event Group. This week, we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, home of Wisconsin Bride Magazine, talking to Christina Wegner from White Dress Bridal Boutique. In this episode, we'll discuss the process of finding the perfect wedding dress, share insights into the latest trends, the importance of selecting the right designer, and how you can fit all of it into your budget.
Hi, I'm Jenna Cully, owner of Linen Effects Minneapolis. I bet I can guess the third thing you did after getting engaged. Number 1, you called family and friends to share the good news. Number 2, you started a Pinterest board. Number 3, you realized that you have no idea how to bring that Pinterest board to life. That's where we come in. Let the design experts at Linen Effects take your ideas and bring them into reality. We have everything, including floor-length linens, charger plates, table settings, centerpieces, candles, pretty chairs, lounge furniture sets, and more to make your event picture perfect. Go to our website at lineneffects.com to schedule your appointment today. That's lineneffects.com and see your Pinterest board come to life.
So we want to know everything about Christina.
Oh.
So how did you get into the luxury wedding dress business with White Dress Bridal Boutique?
Yeah. So 9 years ago, which is shocking that it's been 9 years, I just felt like luxury was missing in Wisconsin. I felt like there was a lot of really great bridal boutiques. I'm from the Chicagoland area, so even though my fiance at the time, husband now, is from Milwaukee and we live here in Milwaukee, I did buy my dress in Chicago, and I just felt like that extra level of experience when the bride comes in. And just because I am so much of an experience junkie, I don't mean like jumping out of a plane experience junkie. I mean like staying at nice boutique hotels or just doing all the little extra things that people do in the service industry. And I just felt like that was something I was passionate about. And of course I love fashion and buying dresses and doing all those things. And so tying all of that together in downtown Milwaukee in the third ward just seemed like the perfect fit at the time.
One thing that we were chatting about before the podcast was one day.
Yeah.
Your wedding day is one day. And I absolutely loved it. It just felt in my soul when you were so passionate talking about it. So Tell me what you meant about one day to our listeners.
So one day is something that I've been hearing more now than ever before, a lot of brides. And I did the same thing. So when I got married 12 years ago to my true soulmate, I got engaged and we decided to get married 5 months later, not even knowing anything about the wedding industry. Like, you have to book a venue, you have to get a dress, all the things. But I was thinking, it's really just one day. We'll get a venue, we'll taste some food, we'll have a cake, I'll get a dress, and then we'll go on our honeymoon, because it's really just one day.
Easy, simple, right?
Easy, simple. But the thing that I look back on now is that because it was just one day, I went with a photographer who was less expensive. And so my husband and I have no photos of our wedding that are worth being framed. Oh. Because it was just one day, no reason to really do a rehearsal of the event. I also did not mic the woman who was doing our vows, and she said so many amazing, touching things about Corey and myself. I hired a professional singer to come in to sing the song as I was coming down the aisle. Didn't mic her either. And at 6 o'clock on a Friday afternoon in the garden in Villa Terrace, the cars that are going by, the 120 people who were at my wedding sat there for 45 minutes and heard nothing.
Oh, no.
Because I just didn't really think it was worth the expense to mic everyone. No need to do all those extra little things. So, or, for example, my husband and his friends were like, we'll give a speech. And my 3 girlfriends were like, we'll also give a speech. But at the time I was like, it's fine, it's just one day. Well, my husband's 3 friends, I love them to death, got up and gave speeches about my husband, roasting him on his hair and all the other things, like they had just come off the golf course after 2 rounds of golf.
They were doing guy things.
Oh, they were doing guy things. And boy, did they think it was funny. But that was 45 minutes of my...
Roasting your husband.
Roasting my husband. And not even anything like congratulations to the happy couple.
Or memories
anything.
about the couples.
So when I hear brides coming in and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's just one day. I'm like, it's the day. It's where the magic happens. It's that one day that you will look back in those photos forever. So luckily for me, and I don't know if she still does this, so I'm not going to call her out on it, but Gracious Events, Vesna, who I love, she did day of planning. Thank goodness that we crossed paths, because she made sure that I was eating, because when you're talking to 100 to 20, 150 guests for a while, you don't realize that you haven't had anything to eat all night. She made sure that I was, at the aisle on time. She was nothing short of amazing. And in looking back, if I had not had her, I think people probably could have been running out for extra champagne. Like there was countless things that could have happened. So I recognize that weddings are a big expense, and whether it's a bride who is having 3 people and she wants to buy a dress from White Dress off the rack and she wants to take it same day, I love that for her. If there's a bride who is going to have a couple hundred people or 100 people at her event and she's got a little more time, and we can work with her at the main boutique White Dress and we can customize a dress, love that for her too. But it's not just one day. It is the day. So skimping on all the things that really matter, like don't skimp on the photographer. Don't skimp on being mic'd up. Don't skimp on anything.
Don't skip
really.
on. So everything that you were talking about there, the just one day, reminded me of what I do, which is videography.
Yes.
Those are moments that with the speeches, you probably, okay, we can delete the speeches of the roasting. We can take care of that. But, miking up the officiant so that your guests can see it live is great. Everyone, they'll want to see that when they're in person, but having it on video and being able to record all of that audio is really important too.
It's forever. And on your anniversary, if you want to watch it back.
Yeah.
Because after a while, we get older. We
forget.
It
just goes back to like all the details matter. But what I was saying to you too is like it's one day, but it is the one thing that we all can relate to and connect with other couples on.
100%.
Because when you even bring up weddings, they want to talk about their wedding day, and then they want to talk about their wedding day.
Yes.
And for years, you're going to always bring up great stories that happen, or may not good stories on your wedding
either
day.
Way, yes.
But it's the thing that we can all connect with, which is, again, the power of weddings.
Correct. Yes.
So it's just not one day.
It's not just one day, or the speech from the best man or the maid of honor. I mean, practice.
Yeah.
Because a great wedding speech can really start a wedding on such an amazing note.
Oh my gosh. And speeches could be a whole nother podcast. All I want to say, keep it short and sweet, guys.
Yeah. Unless
short
you know what you're doing.
And you just
exactly.
Say, cheers, I love you. Congrats, couples.
Yes.
That's all you need to do.
Correct.
To be honest.
Yeah.
Unless you have a degree in or you're a member of Toastmasters and you just are an incredible public speaker. Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
Because if you can say some really sweet stuff, we like to see that, but most people can't.
No.
We have a really...
And it's not the day to start.
No, it's not the day to start, no.
Yeah.
We have a really good couple friends, or a couple friend, and their daughter got married, and her sister gave a speech, and she's a stand-up comedian.
Oh my goodness.
To this day, I remember her speech. I mean, she had everyone laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, everyone should go to her.
There's actually a client that is called Vows and Speeches, and he actually assists people
Oh,
with
really?
Yes.
vows and speeches. Yeah, in California.
great.
Look them up. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Christina, when they come or when they reach out to you to find the perfect wedding dress, how does that look like? How does that process start? Do you do a pre-interview before they come, or do they have to book an appointment? Tell us.
I would say 80% of our brides will book online via our website. And then as soon as they book, they get congratulations, we're so excited to see you, just a text acknowledging that we definitely see their appointment. And then about a week or two before the actual appointment, we'll chat with them. What's your journey looking like? Do you have an idea of, where your venue is? Things that they're liking, things that they're not liking. But then again, keeping in mind that they could come in envisioning long sleeves and all these things, and then after 5 dresses of long sleeves, they're like, I actually don't like long sleeves at all. But just really keeping an open mind, because I feel like when you look at so many photos or you're looking at Pinterest, you get an idea of what your wedding dress is going to look like or how it's going to feel or how you're going to see yourself on that day. And then you end up in something that's clean, classic, and fitted, and you were thinking ball gown, and you're like, I look and feel like $1 million. And then we end up taking a different direction. I mean, I feel like 60 to 70% of brides who come in thinking they want one thing end up buying something else.
Totally.
I hear that too, because I get to be, filming. I get to be in these rooms when they're getting ready, and we do something called the dress reveal. That's where the bride,
Yes.
comes in, and all her girls are standing there, and she turns around, and everybody's, it's great. Oh, you look so great. I always get to hear these stories about how this was not the first dress that I chose.
Sure.
I thought I was going to get this and this and this, and then I slipped this on, and it was like, oh yeah, that's the dress.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it is common to not come in with an idea and walk away with something else.
Correct. And being open to that and embracing that.
Do you see a lot of brides question their decision when they realize this is not what I thought?
Yes. But then that overall look, and even if I haven't been working with the bride and I happen to come around the corner and she's with her group and she's standing in the mirror, they just have this look like, I feel like a bride.
Yeah.
Like, this is it.
I'm actually the example of that. So I walked in to this boutique, and I wanted this wedding dress that was in. It was like shaped with a big flower design. Again, this was back in 20-something.
I feel like we wore the same dress, but keep going. Literally.
Of course we did. And then I put on a Ramona, and I look at myself. I'm like, is this it? It was the last dress. And the helper, the assistant, walked away, and I'm looking at my parents. I'm like, is this it?
Yeah.
And you almost get emotional
You
about
do.
it because you're questioning. You're like, this is not what I thought.
Correct.
Is this really good? Does this really look good on me?
Right. Yeah.
And that satisfaction of your family being like, you look like a 10.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Because it's scary. It's a big decision because it's not just one day.
It's not just one day. And that goes back to who to bring with you.
Yes.
I don't think that the people, the guests that they're bringing, whoever it is, really realize how big of a job that they have. So when the bride comes out of the fitting room, if people aren't really seated or they're looking around, it's like she's just had this magical moment with the stylist in the fitting room. She's put this dress on. She's so excited. She walks out and it's like crickets. Mm-hmm. So I think, it's her day that day.
So would you say, because we're talking, I went, and I know this is not traditional, I went with my wife to...
You did not.
I did. No, she asked me to go. She asked me to go. I went
when fiancés call.
Yeah. So I went with her. It was, I don't know what it was called, somewhere on Grand Avenue in St. Paul. I went with her and I watched her try on all of
the
these
wedding shop.
dresses.
Wedding shop.
Wedding shop. Yeah. What up, wedding shop?
Bridal boutique.
And oh boy, by that last dress, I'm in there for her. By that last dress, I was like, hopefully this is it. Is this it? Please. Do you think like the family is when you hear the crickets that you mentioned, do you think that they're just like tired?
Well, it's
or they
usually
don't...
crickets because they're so excited they've come into a bridal boutique, and I completely get it. They see all the beautiful dresses. It's crickets because they're up. Even though we're like, please stay seated, we're here for you, we know all the inventory. So they're up looking around, they're looking at jewelry, maybe someone's gone potty. So it's really their job to, and we've now been starting, she's going to be coming out because there's nothing like coming out when you're so excited and there's no one there. It's like waiting for your husband at the altar.
I love that you're saying this. Yeah, it's to keep your butts on the couch or in the chair because the main actor is coming out to reveal.
And when the bride truly finds something that she loves, even though it wasn't her vision that maybe she's been talking about or she talked in the car on the way there or at breakfast, like, this is what I'm looking for, and then everyone's feeling like that's what it's going to be, and it ends up like with your dress being something completely different. Lean in with that because she's having a moment, and then if the mom says, well, there's other places to go, we should keep looking. she's about ready to have this moment where she's crying, and now you've just robbed her of that
Less
moment.
is more.
Yes, less is more.
So would you say that you prep everyone? Like you would, when they sit down, do you say, all right, listen, let's have you sit down and let them know? Because a lot of people are oblivious to
100%.
a lot of
And
stuff.
I get that. They're
when she comes out,
excited too.
when she comes out, be excited. Tell her the truth. Don't tell her the truth. Like, what are we doing? Are we being honest? Are we?
So we're leaning into that a little bit more because I feel like the bridal industry has really changed. The bride has really changed. I feel like, 9 years ago when I opened, of course, social media was around, but I don't think that people necessarily were like, if I post this photo and I don't get enough likes on the photo, then it must be a bad photo. Well, it's not a bad photo. Maybe you just posted it at a time when all your friends or whatever was at work or something like that. So I think that there's a little bit of the bride coming out and wanting that reaction from them.
They expect it.
Yeah. So that can really rob a bride of her wedding journey, her experience with us, because people are not leaning in.
Or giving the energy.
It's not their day. It's her day.
So
And they do, everybody remembers the day they buy their dress.
100%.
They do.
So be picky and choosy about who you bring to
Be
the
picky
appointment
and
with you.
choosy. And if you have Aunt Susie, who's really opinionated and wants to relive her wedding dress journey through you, bring her to your reveal appointment. So when you come out, you'll come out in your dress that you've already purchased with your veil, and the only thing that she can say is, you look stunning. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for you, because there are no other
She
dresses.
knows that's the dress.
Correct. So be mindful of who you bring with you.
So what's the reveal? The reveal.
When her dress actually comes in, and
Okay.
it's her actual dress, we call it a gown reveal, where she puts it on in the fitting room, and then it comes out. If she's had jewelry or accessories or all the things, we put everything on.
So,
Wow,
because it's
that
been
is
tailored.
amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's been tailored now at this point. She
Correct.
already chose the dress.
So
It's
she
been sent
chose
off.
the dress 5 to 7 months for the dress to come in. And a lot of times the dress, especially at White Dress, we love customizing dresses just so that it's not the same dress over and over again. So the dress that they saw is definitely not the dress that comes in, because she's made certain modifications to
Right.
it. And that's exciting. But again, 5 to 7 months to make that happen.
Yeah, and that's great that you bring that up. Like, give us a little timeline of
Yeah.
start to. So I give you a call, and I'm a new client with a beautiful dress need.
Sure. Yes,
Yeah, from
yes.
start to finish.
Kind of with the connection call, which we were talking about. We ask,
Yes.
how many people are they bringing? Because a lot of times brides are so excited, and they should be, and they're like, I'm bringing 10 people. It's like, that's 10 opinions,
Wow.
and it's
Whoa.
too many. So
Don't do that.
That's part
we
of the questionnaire. I love that.
We really try to remind them that, too many opinions sometimes are just too many opinions. Really try to bring your core group that is going to be there for you, and then maybe bring your neighbor or whoever else who is significant with you to your gown reveal. So, who are they bringing? What are they thinking? What is their venue? All those things are so important. It really helps us to really dial in that experience.
Yeah.
So it's all about them. So I don't jokingly say it. I actually say we sell an experience that results in a wedding dress sale.
Okay, so you said it's about 7 months. Once you pick out the dress, it takes 7 months for it to be tailored, altered. Is that the
It
is that
actually
the term?
takes the designer usually about 6 to 7 months to produce the dress.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll have the gown reveal at White Dress, and then we recommend seamstresses in the area. So then they take that dress, and usually I would say about 2 months for alterations. But ideally, so in regards to when you should start shopping,
Yes.
I always say start shopping when you're ready to buy, because there are brides who maybe their wedding isn't for a year, but maybe they're about ready to start something really significant at school or at work. They've got this big project, and they want to get their dress finalized and then start on that. So come when you're ready to buy, but really start looking a year in advance, because we have all the samples a year in advance. Like the designers, so everything for 2024, we already have all that inventory in stock. Within the last 2 weeks, all of it has come in.
Yeah.
So if you wait, it's not like you're going to see anything different. But the last thing you want is to be calling the seamstress every day, like, where's my dress? You want that dress, either hanging in your closet or at someone's house, ideally a month before the wedding.
And they say usually minimum 8 months, right? To finalize the dress.
Yes.
Because of just to get the dress, the alteration process.
Correct.
So minimum 8.
Minnesota Bride's best jeweler every year since 2010. Continental Diamond has an amazing selection of diamonds, engagement rings, wedding bands, jewelry, and timepieces. Providing the best experience possible, their team is friendly, knowledgeable, and there to make the process fun and easy. Trust the reviews. They're top rated on Google. Visit Continental Diamond, the jewelry store Minnesota adores. Online at continentaldiamond.com.
I love that you share that you like to go to Chicago for Fashion Week.
Oh, yes.
Please tell us about that.
So it's just, it's so many designers. They used to be all over. So we do go to New York as well, but a lot of designers are showing in Chicago. So huge bonus for us. We can just drive down. But just walking around, seeing all the runway shows, I'm really picky about what I buy. So you can have a dress in Mikado that can look really wrinkly and be $5,000, or you could have a dress that's in Mikado, it's just a better quality of material and not even close to that price point. So mostly moms will say to me, we've been to so many other bridal boutiques, but there's just something about every single dress and the way that it lays. I'm like, I'm a really picky buyer. You don't necessarily have to spend all the money on the dress to get an amazing dress. And you want to think about how it's going to bustle, how heavy is it going to be, how is it going to sway across the dance floor. There's so many different things, and those are the things that I am just so dialed into.
With fashion, you said that you literally will watch the models go by.
Yes.
And go, nope.
Oh, I do. I think we've talked about that before.
I know.
I get the line sheet and the model comes out. I'm like, nope. It's real. My buying check sheet is like, no heart, no heart, no heart. And my team that comes with me, they're always like, she didn't like that one, she didn't like that one. But then again, once they're off the models, I always like to feel them, touch them, because maybe something that looked, and again, the model could be 5'11", and the dress is just a smidge short, but I'm noticing I notice every detail about the dress. So maybe it was just how it fit that model, but it's still a great dress. So there's so many things.
I think that's so cool. So again, educating the listener and the viewer. So Fashion Week is when all the designers release all the new trendy wedding dresses for the upcoming season. So they actually invite media, bridal boutique owners to view what the new collection is, and then the bridal boutiques will actually select what dresses they want in their stores.
Correct. Yes.
And that's also a way for designers to say, I want to be in your store.
100%.
Well, how can I get in your store?
Yes.
So it is a big deal to go out to those. So I actually said, I want to sit next to Christina and just enjoy the process, because it is super, it's models doing the runway catwalk, you know, and wearing these stunning dresses. That is heaven for me.
Yes. And I don't know if a lot of stores do this or not, but I'm very decisive. So I buy at market. I think a lot of stores or owners will take notes and then they go back to the boutique. So by the time I'm arriving at market, I know what my inventory is, what I'm selling the most of, what the Wisconsin bride is looking for, colorway, what sizing we're selling the most. So I know exactly what I'm looking for. So every time the runway goes down, I meet with my team, we write the order, and I'm on to the next thing. Because the thought of coming home and buying, 80 dresses,
that's huge inventory.
No, I want to do that. I'm going to Gibson's for a big steak. I'm having a super strong Cosmo or two. We're staying at the Waldorf. I'm going to get up and go to the spa in the morning, and I'm going to drive home, and I'm done.
Right.
Have two Cosmos. You deserve it.
I do deserve it.
Yeah, you do. Well, you're making sure Wisconsin brides are looking beautiful.
100%. Yes.
So what are you seeing for trends with this upcoming wedding season from the market?
So last year, a lot of clean and classic, and I feel like brides are still leaning into that. But just over the last month, I'm seeing more color than I've ever seen before. Ooh. And I'm not talking like Little House on the Prairie color. I'm talking like, and not 1970s color, where each bridesmaid would wear a different color, which they are wearing a different color, but the dresses are they're to die for. And then
Are they bright, vibrant, or are we like what kind?
They're bright and vibrant, and so is the floral. I mean, it's a
colors coming out.
It is.
Which
it
again,
is
wedding
wow.
professionals are really excited about because it's been a lot of pale pinks and white and
ivory.
Eucalyptus.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, it's time for color.
It is time for color. And there are certain brides that can really lean into that and they love that. But then there's always I just feel like the rules are gone. And I am such a high visionary that for me, no rules is amazing. Like, I am not a rule follower at all.
No bounds.
No bounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you always select, they're just, every dress that you've shown or been a part of our fashion shoots are just always breathtaking.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We love being a part of your shoots. Yes.
Yes. I remember when we pulled this one that was Vera Wang. I'm like, oh, Christina. She's like, we just got it. And I'm like, gimme.
Yes.
Oh, and it was just so beautiful.
And I'm quick to get rid of my inventory. So if something's not moving or, like with anything, you buy something, you buy a sweater, you buy a pair of pants, and it's like, I loved it in the fitting room and I've had it for 6 months and I've never worn it. So it's the same thing with wedding dresses. So all of those dresses I move over to my off the rack store, which you can purchase and take with you same day at 50% off. So that's just a great option, and it's just right down the street.
So one of the trends that I've noticed, I don't know, last 18 months or so has been the outfit change.
Oh, yes, I
Right?
love an
We
outfit
love the
change.
second look.
Yes.
Do you have second look dresses?
We do have second look dresses, a lot of minis. I'm hoping to see, because the minis are mini, which is really fun if you're, super
petite,
young and you're 100 pounds
very fit,
very fit and all the things. But what I tell a lot of girls is get a second look from off the rack, because you can cut any dress. And they're all 50% off.
Oh, wow.
So,
clever.
Yeah. Love a second look. Love a second look with a sneaker. I'm all into
Oh,
sneakers.
I'm all about the
Look
sneakers.
up the Minnesota Bride fashion shoot of the current issue. It's a 10.
Oh,
a lot of short dresses with
all
sneakers.
about the sneaker.
And get a bougie sneaker while you're at
100%.
it. So with going back to designers, because a lot of engaged couples, a lot of brides, don't really are educated about wedding dress designers.
Sure.
Do you recommend them looking into designers before coming in, being like, I really want to try a Vera Wang dress?
Sure.
And seeing that you sell it or not, but like, do you think that's a good way to kind of look for the style or don't come in with a designer in mind?
There are certain designers that will do a lot of customization. So, for example, Martina Liana, we can take 3 dresses and make them into one. And when I first started working with them, probably 7 years ago, I was like a little nervous about it.
Okay.
But if you're loving the top of a dress, but you want it strapless, we can make it strapless in production. If you're loving the cutouts on one dress, we can actually add those cutouts to the dress that you're liking. If you're loving the train of a different dress and you're loving the 3D florals, they can add that, but they can do all of that in customization, where before someone would have to do that all with a seamstress, and it comes in flawless. I mean, it really is amazing.
Wow.
But then there's like Paloma Blanca out of Canada, very clean and classic, where if you like a top of one dress and the bottom of another, we can push them together. But then we also have other designers who are like, we design the dress the way it is, and if you don't like the dress, then you're not our bride. I mean, they truly are like that. But that's okay too, because the dresses are beautiful. So find what you're looking for, but at the same time, my team is so knowledgeable on all of our designers that if we know that she's wanting to make a lot of customizations, we know where to lean into.
Have an open mind.
Yes, yes, open mind.
It's just very fascinating to be like, you have the designer, then they go to you before they get to the bride.
Yes.
Like, some of the brides just think that that's, you produce these, these are your dresses.
They do.
They don't know that that you select
Correct.
the certain designers to come into your store.
Yes, some brides do actually feel like I make them in the back room. I don't even know how to DIY or
DIY. I know, get corrected too,
I'm
Christina.
Like, I don't know what that is.
That's
I'm not
why
doing
we're so
that.
similar.
I don't know where Hobby Lobby is. No. If you need extra fabric, I can order that for you. Yes. I can take care of you.
But it's true that, like, again, they're just not, engaged couples are just not educated. This is why we're doing the podcast, is like,
right.
it's just super cool that you select the certain designers that are in your store.
Correct.
And it's for a reason, because you know that they're going to take care of you too.
100%.
You and also the bride.
They're going to come in on time.
Yeah.
We're not going to have any issues.
And a lot of the times you're babysitting the designers, being like, you're not doing your job. I don't want you in my store because you're not wanting that for the bride.
Yes.
So again, trust the process.
And just know that whoever you're buying from needs to be picky. They need to have a personal relationship. It's not just, looking at line sheets through an email and just sending in an order. Like, I've gone to market, I've felt the dresses, I've seen what the construction looks like, I've met with the rep. Like, when I come into their booth, they know who I am, I know who they are. Yes.
What would be a red flag when you go to try on a dress?
Oh, what would be a red flag?
So, of course, they're not coming to your store because, of course, there's no red flags.
100%.
But what would be something that you would be like, that would make me nervous to buy my wedding dress there?
I think that this is true for me if I go anywhere. If I walk in and someone is very unorganized, if the front desk is unorganized, if they don't know that I'm coming, it would be like checking into the hotel and they're like, so when were you supposed to be here? Okay, if you don't even know when I'm coming, my dress is not coming in. Probably not going to want to buy from you.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm.
Or if the stylist has to keep leaving the appointment to go check on things and ask a manager, it's like, if that's the case, that stylist just needs to be either re-onboarded or trained, or that manager needs to be upfront with that stylist to make sure that we're delivering the best possible experience ever.
So when we come in and visit you,
Yeah.
do we have our own stylist, or is this stylist helping
Perfect question.
multiple people?
You have your own stylist.
So what's a stylist? Explain a stylist experience.
So, obviously we've chatted a few times on the phone, so we have an idea, but a lot can change in 2 weeks. You might have gone, or the bride might have gone to a couple different stores, and she's like, I was actually thinking this one, we chatted, but now after trying on a few things, I'm really leaning in this direction. So then the stylist is either, re-pulling or things like that. But the stylist is going to know what customizations we can make, what the fabric is. Sometimes there are dresses that are too long to be bustled, and stores don't always talk about that. And does a bride really want to carry around her dress all night long? Probably not. Yes. I mean, some brides, they want that drama of that, so I'm always like, let's shorten the train a little bit and go with a cathedral-length veil, so you get that look coming down the aisle that's such a wow, but then you don't have to wear that veil all night long.
I actually had a cathedral veil, and it had a bustle in my veil.
Oh, look at you.
I loved it. It was
all
from
the
France.
things. Oh, of course, I love it.
International Beauty Agency, a team of on-site, award-winning hair and makeup artisans that bring the beauty to you. On-site beauty whenever, wherever. They understand how valuable your time is and the importance of looking your best. Their team of vetted professionals design exquisite hairstyles and makeup applications for corporate, editorial, weddings, headshots, special occasions, and more. All in the comfort and convenience of the location you choose. Warpaint International, the ultimate symbol of luxury and excellence in hair and makeup artistry.
So with a stylist,
Yes.
they're in the room with you, right?
They are. Yes, they're in the room.
So how should the bride come prepared?
Great question.
In the fitting room? Like, what should they wear?
Yes. So I always say, don't feel like you need to go out and buy anything, but nude undergarments, nude bra, always the best because it's not going to show through. If you're wearing like black panties and a black top, sometimes it's really hard to get an idea of what, because it just comes through. But we're working with brides all the time, so if they want to forego their bra or whatnot, we're fine with that.
Is that one of your questions, like how comfortable you are to be working with the stylist?
No, I feel like most brides coming in, I think they're grateful that they don't have to get into the dresses themselves because they're heavy. Not always, but they're just
fragile.
Awkward. Yes,
Fragile.
correct. They just, they don't want to like tear anything. So
You tear it, you buy it.
We tear it, we own it. Yes.
So
yes.
average pricing right now for wedding dresses?
Luxury for us is, so we start around 22 and we do go to 8. We don't have a ton of inventory in the $8,000 price point, but I would say 25 to 35 is really our sweet spot for luxury. And that really gives us some room to add any customizations. At the off the rack store, I would say if you're wanting to be all in anywhere from $1,200 to $1,900, you're great. And there are a lot of dresses at the off the rack store that we can reorder. So a lot of times people will say, I just don't want something that's quote used or off the rack. It's like the farthest thing, because I'm such a stickler about any of my dresses. No broken zippers, no torn hems. So by the time that dress gets to my off the rack store, it's as close to a brand new dress as it could possibly be. But
Wow.
So off the rack, like I come in, I buy the dress off the rack.
And this is a store, by the way.
Yep.
Yes.
And I take it home. Like there's no alterations after that.
You have to take it in for alterations, but you leave with the dress the same day. You're not waiting 5 to 7 months for that to come in.
Oh, so you walk in and you just buy it.
So where am I having that altered?
You would go to a local seamstress.
Okay.
Yes. And we do have recommendations, a lot of brides will ask other brides where they had their dresses altered. Sure. Yes.
Yes. And some bride boutiques do have an alteration specialist in-house, and some don't. So that's also a great question to ask
100%.
When you're selecting the dress, so then they know that's another part of the planning process is to find a good alteration.
I feel like back in the day, probably 90 to 100% of boutiques had seamstresses in-house. I would say now, at least in the Milwaukee area, probably 70% do not.
Oh, really? Why do you think that is?
I think trying to combine the alterations with the dress just started to become a lot. And really, the seamstresses can run their own business. They don't need us.
It's very true. And you want to keep it separate from that buying the dress experience.
Yes, you want to keep it separate.
And then you can be an expert in dress buying versus being doing one thing well as opposed to doing.
We each have our niche, and that's what we're good at. Yes.
Alteration specialists, they like to be in their own probably home. A lot of them are in their homes.
Their own space. They could spread out. Yes.
So it's very common that alteration specialists are in their home. So don't be alarmed. That's weird.
Correct.
It's very common.
So many of them have moved into actual spaces now.
So it's not like if you go to a doctor who is also practicing from his living room.
Correct.
It's a little bit different.
Right, like my dentist did back in the day when I was growing up. Yeah. No, not like that.
I don't want to go to that dentist.
My husband is a dentist, so it's a lot easier for me.
How about shoes? I know that's a big thing with selecting a dress. They should definitely, can they bring shoes when they already got the shoes? I highly doubt they got the shoes.
They don't, and which is fine, but some brides do, because I'm always open for buying a great pair of shoes before I know what I'm going to be wearing. Yes. But all the brides are on a podium, so the dress will, for the most part, look like it's going to look with shoes, and then buy your shoes after you ordered your dress, and then you'll bring your shoes to the seamstress, so she'll know how to hem the dress.
Got it.
Yes.
How many appointments do you happen at a time at your store, at the boutique?
I would say 60 to 70% of our brides buy on their first visit. And we really try to let them know, don't be surprised. Like, our inventory is amazing. Our stylists are amazing. So don't be surprised that you will find the dress the same day.
So you're coming in feeling good.
Oh, yes. Bring your checkbook. We're ready.
Okay.
So are there multiple dresses? Like, let's say I come in and I find the dress.
Yeah.
Do I pull the trigger? Do I jump in and buy that because it could be gone? Or is this a situation where you have many?
We'll be ordering it if you're at the main store. So we would go ahead and measure you and order the dress, and you would pay for it. Mm-hmm. If you're at the off-the-rack store, we actually put it in a really nice garment bag and take a I said yes photo and do a little toast, and off you go with your dress.
When you buy the dream dress,
yeah.
Do I expect to pay for my dream dress 100% the day I select it when I order it?
Sure.
Or do I put 50% down and then 50% when I pick it up? What do you see as common?
Great question. So we are a pay in full store. However, we do offer an option where you can pay 60% at the time of purchase, and then the other 40%, the balance, within 60 days. And the reason why we do that is we want it to keep rolling with production.
I love that. And I actually think it's great that brides know how it works, because you do have to put down money to buy the dress from the designer.
Correct. Like, I'm paying for 100% of your dress.
Yep.
Up front.
Yep. And then, of course, you just pay your final bill when you get there. So you're just making sure that it is delivered by your wedding day.
100%.
So how many stores would you say that brides visit before they make their final decision? Yeah.
Well, hopefully one. Hopefully they're just coming to White Dress and we're able to find their dress. But I completely understand that it's a big purchase and it's a very special purchase. So sometimes brides are wanting to sleep on it. They want to go home and look at their photos, maybe go for dinner, and maybe see a couple of other boutiques as well. I would say at the most 3. I have seen on TikTok where there have been brides who are like first dress, second dress, all the way up to like her 75th dress before she, right? Because after a while it just becomes a sea of white, and you can only like taste so many chocolate cakes before you know like this is the best chocolate cake. So it starts to ruin the experience because it adds so much stress to the bride. It actually adds a lot of stress even to the stylist who's trying to stay in touch with her just to make sure that her journey is going well and that we've answered all of her questions. But if you go to the right boutique that has the right inventory and they know how to make customizations, a lot of times it really can be a one and done situation.
That's really good to know because I know I booked 3 spots.
I went to 5.
You went to 5?
I went to 5.
Yeah.
And every time I came out in a wedding dress, I was like, ah! And my girlfriend that was with me, I just took just my one girlfriend, the poor stylist, when I look back, she was like, is this your dress? And my girlfriend was like reading a magazine. She's like, she acts like that in every dress. I was like the worst bride ever. But I did end up, I had an idea of what I was looking for, and I truly ended up finding that in the end. But there was a part of me that truly enjoyed that dress shopping experience. But at least I feel somewhat nice about it, that I was in and out of the boutique in a quick amount of time, trying on like 4 or 5 dresses. I was extremely decisive. So I wasn't there for 2.5 hours trying on 30 dresses only to be like, I feel like I need to sleep on it and keep looking. But yes.
Well, and it makes sense that you went to 5 because this is what you do for a living. So you found all the things that you liked and didn't like. And,
correct. Yeah. And I drove far for a few boutiques that I found on social media, or they carried a certain designer that I wanted to try on. Back in the day, we were like still tearing out photos, and I wanted to try on those dresses. And then once I had, that helped me to really narrow down what it was that I was looking for. And then I went all in. Like I bought the dress, back in the day, belt, the veil, the hair, like I bought everything from one store because I wanted to be done. Yes. I didn't want to be like, okay, now I have my dress, now I have to try to find a veil that's going to match, or buying something from Etsy, or I see a lot of times brides buying veils from Amazon, and the main area of a veil at the top, if that is not sewn all the way around and if it's not wide enough, you could spend so much money on a cathedral length veil and you walk down the aisle and it's literally like a strip of fabric.
I know.
Because you skimped, because you thought it was just one day on your beautiful cathedral length veil, versus if you would have just spent a couple $100 more with us. Maybe you skipped an appetizer the day of the wedding, and then your veil is all the way out and it's all the way down the aisle.
And actually photos really well on brides too. I love veils on brides.
It does. So be mindful of the things that you're feeling are important and things that you're like, that's not really going to matter.
One of the things that is one of my biggest surprises is when they get the ring, they go get the dress right away.
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, wow, that's like, go get her.
Yes.
Go get her, Tiger. But then they pick the dress, but what if it doesn't match the venue or the time of year? So
sure.
Do you ever give that recommendation? Like maybe you should get your venue first before you get the dress.
I think the wedding's all about the bride.
Oh, okay.
So if she loves the dress and if it's winter, we'll sell her a fur.
Wouldn't you say that you're planning your wedding most of your life if you're a woman? Most women, some women?
Some do, but some don't.
Okay,
my best friend, she wanted to focus on being a doctor, and then she found the right guy. I guess I'm getting married.
Yes.
I would say the women that are going from right from getting engaged to buying the dress have probably been planning this for a very long time, right? So they think they have an idea in their head of what it is that they want. So they're probably not necessarily thinking about season or...
No, they're just probably looking for a certain style that they think will look best on them.
Yeah. Or something that they maybe saw at a wedding or they saw on TV or whatnot.
We got inspired by TikTok or even just hopping on and following White Dress Bridal Boutique on Instagram and seeing the stylist trying on different dresses, because that's very in. All the boutiques do different. Oop, I jumped into this one and I jumped into this one.
Which is so great, because it really gives the brides an idea of what that inventory looks like, and if that boutique is going to really align with the bride and what she thinks that she's looking for. I was someone who did not really think about my wedding day. I didn't get married till I was 40. I was actually engaged 4 times before that and gave all the rings back because I was so focused on my career that it never even dawned on me that I was like, maybe I should get married and have a child. It never crossed my mind. Yeah. And then I met my husband, and he proposed 5 months into dating. And then we were married 5 months later. And so I feel like everyone's journey is just so different.
Everybody's love story is completely different. And
for sure.
However you want to celebrate it is your way too.
100%. No rules.
Love that.
Well, it was so great to have you, Christina, today.
You. Yes, so great to see both of you.
Buckets and you're just so like empowering of like just running your own company and also just being confident with the products that you sell and like just showing all the details matter when finding the perfect wedding dress.
Yes. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Wedding Day Podcast. We are on social media, of course. If you're listening on Spotify, you can check us out also on YouTube. You can see our faces. Sometimes the audio podcast, you don't get to see who. I want to see what Christina looks like. I want to see what Sonja looks like.
You have to come. We have to see what Christina looks like.
Yeah. At Wedding Day Podcast on all the socials.
Yeah. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. See you. Bye.